Oh, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Contemporary Issues. We're coming out today. We're going to talk today about TV series and films. I thought it would be fun once in a while to share our recommendations on what we watch, what we like, what we don't like, and the moral messages behind some of these too. We are a church. Is it good to watch some of these shows that are considered bad behavior shows, or does it not really matter? Do we take that in context? I think it'll be fun to talk about that. So have in mind as we go along here, share with us what you like. We have some new, especially new things that you're watching. Tell us what you like and why. So with that, let me do our usual announcements. Zoomers, welcome, and please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen. Keep the background noise down, and we are recording this for future playback. And anything in the news? What did you think of the sermon today? Something very different.
Really think about it.
Have to think about that. Yeah, for those that haven't been yet, it's really our special speaker guest today talked about conventional image of God and kind of a non-traditional called open and relational image of God, a God that doesn't know what the future holds because it unfolds every minute with our own free will and decisions, and maybe even a God that can't stop the suffering in the world. And we're going to talk about that at 11:45 today too. So join me and Vicki in the question and answer session at 11:45.
Where's that there be, Steve? Is that going to be?
I think in Fellowship Hall. Pretty sure.
You know, the one thing that occurred to me is I feel like the tradition that I came up in wanted you to have a feeling of God in the open concept, but they wanted you to also follow the rules. I mean, there was a structure, but they wanted you to believe in a God that was loving and caring, and so, and I don't know how that just that doesn't, but yet this was the structure, but yet believe in a loving and caring, and it was interesting to me that it wasn't new. It was just, how do you reconcile one with the other? And maybe you don't, you know. I just thought that was very interesting.
A lot to unpack there. And I like that he talked about logic too. He's thinking if we say one thing, but it's not logical with what we observe in the real world and experience, how do we mesh our logic with our theology? Lots to unpack there. Okay, let's jump in. I want to start off with TV series, new TV series. Some that Vicki and I have watched and are enjoying, and want to see if you have seen these too and what you think. So let me just mention a few. This first one is on CBS. It's called The Company You Keep, and it's starring Milo Ventimiglia from, what was the name of the show he was in?
This Is Us.
This Is Us was a very popular one. So this is his next one. And it's about a family that owns a bar, but their side business is being thieves and con people. And so they do these elaborate cons on people, and they try and evade the authorities trying to catch them. So Milo is a thief, and the lady is, I think she's a CIA or an FBI agent that's investigating. And it's kind of like Ocean's 11, and a little bit of James Bond in there too. And so it's very well written and fast and interesting. I thought we've seen a couple episodes. Has anybody else seen this one? The Company You Keep. The Company You Keep. Yeah. Anybody seen it?
I saw the first one.
You saw the first one?
Yeah, I saw it, and I'll watch again.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's funny.
Good, good. That reminds me, I was going to recognize Betty for a second to tell us about an upcoming event. Sorry, Betty, go ahead.
That's fine. Active Minds is coming this Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and their subject is
little serious. It's on nuclear issues. It's a timely issue, and I hope you can come to that. I'm gonna pass this brochure around. There's a few more. Yeah. People more details. Thank you.
So check that one out. Just give it a try. Here's another one that has been recommended on the best new series from USA Today. It's called Beef, and it's about a Korean man and woman that don't know each other, but they both had a bad day, and they run across each other in a road rage incident, and it starts a feud between these two who are generally nice, average people. Things are going bad for them, and they kind of get obsessed with retaliating against each other after running into each other on the highway.
Literally or figuratively?
I think they did actually bang their cars together at one point. And so they each look up the other person's license plate number on the internet and track each other down and then try and retaliate against each other. And it's an interesting concept, but
Is it a comedy? Doesn't sound like
it's kind of a black comedy. Yeah, kind of a dark comedy. It's not completely serious, but it's got one twist after another. More people they pull into their retaliation against each other, and then they back off and say we should forgive each other. And then I was reading yesterday that the man in this goes to a Korean Christian church, all Korean congregation, and gets religion, so to speak, and joins the church and has a change of heart. So that's kind of down the road. And it's the article I read said this was an amazing positive depiction of Korean Christian churches today. And so I thought that was interesting. I haven't got to that yet, but you might check that one out.
What's it on? Where is it? Where is it?
It is on Netflix. Yes. Anybody else seen this one yet?
I mentioned it to you.
Okay, yeah, and that's the graphic that they put up for that. Here's one that's won a bunch of awards already. Abbott Elementary, about on ABC on Wednesdays, about a Pittsburgh public school. It's a bad school, I guess, with lots of, I haven't really seen this much yet, but it's got so many good critical reviews and awards too. Has anybody been watching this one? I think it's a mostly black cast, but the episodes I've seen, it's kind of like The Office. Have you seen that TV show where the camera goes in and out and moves back and forth, which bothers my eyes? Makes you dizzy. Yeah, you know, me too.
Folks, they're teaching cursive.
They're teaching. Yeah.
That's unusual.
Reading and cursive. Yeah. But I know people are really enjoying that one. Steve, that's on Netflix. Abbott Elementary is ABC on Wednesday.
What time?
It says 9 Eastern time.
So it'd be about 8 o'clock, 8 or 7 p.m.
It was really prominently featured in the AARP awards, movies, best movies for grown-ups,
Was it Linda?
for best shows for grown-ups, and it was.
Very good. And here's a fun one that Vicki and I just ran across called Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies. And so, yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. It's a limited series, so there'll be like 10 episodes of this. But it's set in 1954, 4 years before the events of the 1978 film with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. The Pink Ladies explores how a group of 4 Rydell High School outcasts form a friendship and then their own girl gang. And they wear, because they're tired of being picked on by other people, and so they form the Pink Ladies gang. And they are the forebearers to the movie characters of Rizzo, Frenchie, and the other ladies you probably remember from the movie. The review says this is an often frank and funny presentation about sex, class, and gender at an American high school in 1954. It's reflective of its time, very diverse, and takes on actually modern issues like sexuality, but also reminding us what it's like to be in high school, in shop class, what we call home economics class. Yeah. The dancing and the singing and the dialogue are fast and funny. And this Vicki and I watched 2 episodes so far, and it's like a movie. It's not like a regular TV episode. It's like they've made a 45-minute movie with terrific dancing and choreography. So much better than an average TV show, I thought. Anybody else?
Where is it?
It's on, I know they're all on different things, Dale, aren't they? This one is on Paramount Plus. So it's one of those, I know you can't always just go to them, maybe you have to subscribe, but Paramount Plus, I think, is only $4.99 a month, but you do have to go through the subscribing to get it.
You spend a lot of money looking at it.
Yeah. But this one's really a treat show. Let's see, the next one is, this is one I've not seen yet, but is also recommended by USA Today as a great new show. It's called Schmigadoon. It's on Apple Plus. It's about a struggling couple whose lives are transformed after they get trapped in a magical musical town.
That's like Brigadoon. Like Brigadoon.
Yeah, I think that's the reference. Yeah. And I did see a trailer for it, and it's got singing and dancing in it along with a story. So yeah, like Schmigadoon, that's right. Yeah. And so that has Kristen Chenoweth in it also, Broadway actor.
Okay.
That would explain it. Has anybody seen this one here? It's streaming on Wednesdays on Apple Plus. Yeah, a lot of these are brand new, and a lot of us haven't seen it. This one is called Ghost on CBS on Thursdays. A young couple throw caution to the wind when they decide to convert a rundown country estate into a bed and breakfast, only to find it's inhabited by many entertaining and opinionated spirits from the other world. And so, yeah, it looks like there's a Civil War guy, an American Indian. So I think these spirits come and interact with the young couple.
They live there.
So, yeah, that maybe they live there, I don't know.
They'll die there.
They're stuck there.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen that one?
Oh, yeah.
Nancy, how do you like it?
Oh, I love it.
And Steve saw it? Okay.
She can see him, see all the ghosts. He can't.
Oh.
So it makes it really interesting because she's having conversations with him and he's like, "Who are you talking about?" He's trying to figure it out. He's like, "Okay, so which one is it?" Yeah.
And are they an interracial couple? He's black,
Yeah.
she's white, so that's
He's Indian.
Indian, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, have to
Yeah,
watch that.
and you know, big couple that moved from New York and all the bustle to this estate upstate.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
She inherited it, is haunted. And one of the gals is her great aunt or something.
One of the spirits? Oh, okay. Okay, funny.
But it goes all the way to have a Viking and an Indian, a Native American, and
Boy
Boy
Scout.
Scouts there who got killed by one of the girls with the arrow.
Oh,
A hippie, Wall Street banker and, one of the guys from 1700s.
Oh, are they all people supposed to have died in the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah,
concept.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Their spirits are there.
yeah.
what a funny idea for a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been some horror movies like that, but
Yeah, this is very cleverly done.
we'll watch for that. Okay. All right, well, that's all the new ones I had, but also, let's talk about old ones that have been around a while too. Anybody watched Yellowstone with Kevin Costner? Yes, yes, it's in like its fourth or fifth season, something like that. Well, and if anybody doesn't know, this is about a rancher in Montana who's trying to fight off new developments, land developers, and he's gonna hang on to his ranch no matter what. And good scenery, but it's got some really bad characters in it. Bad behavior, especially the daughter. Yes, who is foul mouthed and treats people bad. And so what do you think? What do you
Once
think?
in a while, main character, Kevin Costner, John Dutton, he talks with a priest once in a while. I've seen that, that's about it.
Yes.
So saving grace, I guess.
Yep. Yep, go ahead, Gene.
Probably one of the better portrayals, Native Americans.
Yeah.
Very respectful of Native
Custer, ever
Americans.
since Running with Wolves. It's kind of had a pro-native approach to the movies, but with Rainwater and some of the other lead characters, a more positive or different rendition.
Yes.
You know, what's interesting is, if anybody's ever gone up to the Custer battlefield, that's real, you know, historical and very accurate. It's fascinating, beautiful scenery too. And this is the area, this is.
Yeah, this is beautiful, and horses and interesting stories and family conflict. And now in this season, Kevin Costner is the governor, so he's gonna try and protect against any development, stop all the developers from coming to Montana.
Well, now there's question whether it's gonna come back.
Yes, Costner's talking about not coming back so he can go do other things too, yeah. But
He says
let's
it's
talk
the
about that
hardest
for a
show
minute.
he's ever done.
Pardon me?
He said it's the hardest show he's ever done.
Hardest show.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, what do you think about the moral behavior exhibited in the show from a Christian perspective? Is it good for them to have characters like Beth, the daughter, that's so foul-mouthed and never apologizes for what she does, treats people badly? You think that's good for shows?
It's not as bad as
Succession.
Oh,
Secession,
that was the worst show on television.
yes.
And it won every award.
And it won every award, and that's totally bad people,
Mm.
all selfish, trying to get control of the family company. Yes. My opinion is, I think the bad characters are good example of the real world, and we can evaluate them and learn from their characters. If it was just all good, well-behaved characters in a show, that'd be kind of boring.
Best.
That's a good point. Those were great for that time, and yeah,
The Beaver.
So you
leave it to Beaver, right?
put such a contrast from Yellowstone to Heartland.
Yeah.
Heartland
Yes.
was episodes of ranchers and good, healthy family relations.
Yes.
Nothing like Yellowstone, and it had a real following. They changed networks, so I don't know how well they're doing now, but it wasn't Netflix. But Heartland was fabulous.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you need all of that, but I think it's the American entertainment.
right.
Heartland was filmed in Canada, but.
Okay.
Repeat.
But that's the variety today. She said it was filmed in Canada.
Yeah, Heartland, gorgeous.
Ranchers.
Yellowstone is very political.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I think I don't know about Homeland, Heartland. I don't know about that one, but Yellowstone is very, very.
Yeah.
I don't know that people really act as bad as that.
A little over the top. He said, some other people really act that bad. Yeah, and over the top there. Yeah. But while we're talking about that, you all probably know that this Yellowstone show has expanded into 3 other series also. And the first one was called 1883 with Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Anybody watch that one?
Yes, the
About-
first one, and then they wanted you to pay to see the next one.
Right, that's right. But it was about the wagon train, this family, the first part of this family coming to the West. And I just thought it was terrific. It was really realistic and not as much cussing in that one. But Sam Elliott was terrific as the trail guide, led them across the country. And so if you're interested, I don't know if you can find it now where you don't have to pay for it, but
Gotta pay for everything.
probably do. And then the second series was 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Watch that. The Fortunes are into those, yeah. And that was good too. I thought so too. And then did you know that there's going to be a third one called the 6666 Ranch?
Great.
That's what it's.
Based on the ranch in Texas. And it's supposed to be starring Matthew McConaughey. So, yeah, they say that if it's right, that Matthew has signed to star in that new series too. So that'll be interesting.
When is that supposed to start?
I haven't read any details about it yet. Yeah, but he'd probably be a good cowboy.
Yeah.
Stephen from Texas. He's from Austin. That's right. He's from Austin.
I thought a couple of good things about that.
What's that, Mark?
She's cute.
Yeah, all the kind of the bad stuff she does, it really is to benefit her father. That's her motive.
She's loyal.
I mean, it's not for her own self-interest. All the stuff she does is, you know, for her father's interest.
Yes.
And she's completely, I mean, completely in love with her husband.
Yes.
Even though he's comes from a different background from her.
It's a good point.
She is completely devoted and in love with her husband. And everything that she does is to benefit the father, not her own good.
Yes.
So there you go.
That's a good point.
With a little halo
A
over
little
it.
halo, yeah. And they've also kind of explained that a lot of her behavior comes from trauma when she was a teenager.
Yes.
And so you can see the struggle in her character. She's trying to be good, but she can't control her emotions. And yeah, that's a good point. Loyalty. Okay.
Yeah. And there was a problem with her mother. I heard something about that when they were talking, you know, some other problem that she had, or relationship with her mother. She was the only daughter, and so
My mother put her down something.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So that kind of explains it. But I thought, you know, if we just saw all goody things on TV, like some that were mentioned, wouldn't people seeing that, and we all have some kind of problems one way or another in our lifetime, wouldn't they think, gee, there's something wrong with me if this is the way we should be? You know,
Idealistic.
like all smiles and roses and everything else.
Right. Right.
But you have
Not
to
every
know how to
family
take
is
it all
Leave it to
in.
Beaver.
Yeah, Cleaver, Beth, what was her name? Cleaver.
June Cleaver.
Cleaver, cleaned house and earrings and pearls.
Of course, there's the whole discussion, has TV gone too far, showing the bad behavior, and every cable show has the F word on it now, and nudity and drug use, and
But what, TVs have an off button?
That's all you
Yeah,
need.
channel.
too.
Have to watch it.
Well, before, sure, Alan.
I'd just like to throw this, TV series out that my wife and I are enjoying, every day. It's a 4-season, Netflix series called New Amsterdam.
Yes.
And that is a very good reality show about a New York City hospital that, you know, I always assume that most of us have health insurance. Well, this gives you a different perspective on the segment of our society that does not have health insurance. The street people, the homeless, and especially in New York, well, you know, very crowded, high density city. And this hospital services those types of patients. So you get a real insight, not only from the patient point of view, but they show the drama around how to manage a hospital from a hospital director's point of view, an oncologist, a cardiologist, a psychologist. I mean, and it's very well written, and you should have a box of Kleenex. Some of the series episodes are real tearjerkers.
Yes, they are.
You know, I've worked in the medical industry for 40 years of my life, and I found that this show was very realistic, and I don't think it was so far-fetched, the situations they brought up. And I think that movie is actually based upon a book called, and if anyone can correct me or remember the name of the book, but they flash the name of the book when they start the series. It's called The 12 Patients.
Yes, I remember that now.
Something.
But so it's based on true situation.
It's
What channel is it on?
It's on Netflix.
Is this the same series, a repeat of what you do once a week on ABC?
It's not Grey's Anatomy.
Don't go on.
But it used to be a new episode.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's been for about 4 years of the new episode.
yeah.
Well, we
I don't
kind
think
of stumbled on it. We're still in the second season.
They just finished like 8 seasons on regular TV.
Yeah, and then it ended like last year. It was
Yeah.
on for about 4 seasons and then they ended it. So this must be it on Netflix. Yeah.
It's a great.
I watched it from the very beginning, but I thought it was a little bit unreal. Yes, I thought it was a little unreal. Because hospitals it's a hospital, he tries to run it not for profit. And he got in trouble for that a lot of times.
Yes.
And I think that was somewhat unreal that he couldn't run this hospital. I mean, he got a lot of support and everything, and the ending of it, and then it ended, it was over, and it ended. I didn't really like the ending, but see what you think about the very last one.
I didn't see the ending.
No, the very last one in the, you know,
Yeah.
in the series. Yeah, I think they could have done a better job on that.
You know, I don't think that he wins every single battle.
Yeah, he
This
does.
is the director of the hospital.
And he's young too.
Yes, he
He's
is.
young, and there's battles that he wins, some battles he just can't win.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna do Dale, and then I'm gonna ask Zoomers to chime in on their favorite shows, and especially in Canada. Susan, I'm gonna go to you in a minute, but Dale first.
Extraordinary Attorney Wu
Yes. Oh,
on
yes.
Netflix.
Okay.
She's an autistic person who manages to graduate first of her class in law school. And it's all about her relationships with people that are compromised by their autisticness.
Okay.
It's just called really beautiful.
Attorney Wu.
Yes.
Extraordinary Attorney Wu.
Okay.
No article in front, just extraordinary attorney. Yeah.
Okay.
And when we first meet her, we did a little history of her childhood, with the parents, but really she emerges full blown about the age of 22, making her way in the world. It is
Very
splendid,
good.
and it is funny, and it is dear, and it is very insightful. Just terrific. Yeah, I like
It sounds kind of like the Good Doctor TV show. Also, if anybody's seen The Good Doctor, about an autistic young doctor, surgeon, and how he tries to interact with his patients, but he can't look at them and hold eye contact because he's autistic. And so much the same, it sounds like to this one. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Susan, can I come to you? Susan from Ontario is our class member, and I wanted to ask Susan, what's TV like in Canada? Do you have the same channels and shows that we have here? Are there Canadian original shows? Tell us about
We
that
do.
for a second.
Yeah, we have all the same channels that you have because, of course, we have cable. And the industry is very prolific up here. Tons of television, documentaries, movies being filmed, some by Americans because of the exchange rate and the tax credits that the Canadians give. So Toronto in particular is just full of industry people doing everything you can imagine. You know, I work out at a gym, and one of the people there runs a business that deals with all the like sound of films. I mean, it's really quite a prolific industry, but also the Canadian government doesn't always let the Canadian productions be seen south of the border. And I think that might be some tax issues that go on between the countries. So we have a lot of really good shows that aren't seen south of the border, but three that I think maybe you've heard of that are very popular and have been winning awards are Schitt's Creek and Kim's Convenience, and of course, Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, which I think has spun off into a much larger production. But has anybody seen any of those?
Yes. Yeah, Vicki and I have seen Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, dark, but very interesting show. Good, thank you. Were those three of those Canadian productions?
Yes.
Okay.
There's another good one out of Canada called Three Pines. Three Pines.
Yes.
And it's right in Quebec City, or no, not Quebec City, but in Quebec province. And very authentic, and a detective who is Oxford educated and a philosopher of sorts. It's a very unique, it's an episodes again, Three Pines.
But that was Louise Penny books.
Exactly. Those are
Three Louise Penny books.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've read a
Thank
lot
you,
of the
Susan.
books, and that is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would any of our other Zoomers like to share their recommendations? Anything you like? Judy or Jason or Pat? Jim and Pat? That's okay. If you want to jump in anytime, go ahead.
I totally like Yellowstone.
Yellowstone?
Yeah.
All right. So, me too.
Fascinating.
Anything with horses and dogs I like. Okay.
I like Turner Classic Movies, particularly last night I watched Wind and the Lion with Sean Connery and Candice Bergen, and I thought it was interesting that we've all heard this attitude of God is with me, and I thought it was interesting that Teddy Roosevelt made that remark that God was with him, and then Razzuli the Magnificent made the same remarks that God was with him in their battles. And at the end, when the Razzuli the Magnificent was freed from his captives and riding off into the sunset with his comrade says, "We lost everything," and a famous line that the Razzuli Magnificent said, "Tell me, is there one thing in your life that isn't worth losing everything for?" And that kind of stuck in my mind. I thought, I don't think that I've ever thought about that. But anyway, it was a great movie.
What channel was that you were watching?
Turner Classic Movies. Yeah,
Turner
all the
Classic
old
Movies
movies.
is my favorite.
They don't make those kind anymore.
No, they don't.
They're just wonderful.
And I
They're always checking and watching.
I wonder how they made those scenes with all those horses and all, it's all outdoors, and where I checked the credits and I couldn't figure out where the movie was made, but the scenes with all the horseback riding and battles, they're pretty amazing how they made movies back then.
Well, you're a good segue into our movie section here. Let's move into talking about recent movies. And I want to introduce it by telling you the top 5 box office successes of this year so far. Anybody take a guess at which one has been the highest grossing movie?
Everything, everywhere, Avatar.
Right, Betty, yes. Avatar, Way of Water. That was number 1. Number 2 was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 3, the Super Mario Brothers movie. We're getting a feeling for who goes to the movie. Yeah. Number 4 was Creed 3, about boxing.
Oh.
Number 5 was John Wick Chapter 4, about the assassin. I'll go on to number 10. Number 6 was Puss in Boots, the cartoon. And number 7 was Scream 6. Number 8 was Megan 3, a horror movie. Number 9 was A Man Called Otto with. But you see how far down you got to get these kids to get into the adult movies. Yeah, and number 10 was Cocaine Bear. That's the bear that ate the cocaine. Okay. Well, Vicki and I went to see a really good new movie a couple of nights ago called Air with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck about the Nike company employees that what they went through to woo Michael Jordan, the basketball star. Surprisingly good story, interesting, well acted. It's in the theaters right at the moment, but if you're interested at all in that, in sports, or just a good story that didn't really get told to the public, what they went through when their company was on the brink of maybe even closing because Nike was had such a small share of the shoe market, how these people developed their marketing and went to a young Michael Jordan and then ended up creating a shoe for him, and their company just exploded with revenue after that. Very interesting, we thought. Okay. Any other movies that you have seen? Who saw the best picture movie of the Oscars called Everything Everywhere All at Once? And what did you think?
Video I've never seen in my entire life. If I had things where I would have walked out of the theater, but if it's on my own television, if I have no excuse.
Babylon.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, it was really terrible. It was 3 hours, it was just, and I saw it in the movies with my daughter at Christmas. I was like, that's the worst movie I've ever seen.
That one with Brad Pitt.
With Brad Pitt. Oh my God, that was good.
I walked out on that one.
But Judy,
She didn't like it.
yes. Okay.
What was it about?
Let me mention the ones that
Oh, it was.
that's okay, Steve. Let me mention the ones that were up for Best Picture Oscars, and let's just talk about those that maybe we did like. There was All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar.
Really violent.
Yes, very violent. Avatar, let me just read them and then we'll discuss. The Banshees of Inisherin. That was weird. Elvis. The Everything All Everywhere All at Once. The Fabelmans, about Steven Spielberg's life. Tar about the music conductor, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, I'm not familiar with that one. And then finally, Women Talking, which was about an Amish women discussing escaping the abuse by men in their village. Vicki and I watched that and it was very interesting.
Very good.
We would recommend that one.
And the other one, even though I didn't listen to the list, was, that had the guy that was overweight and.
The Whale.
Different.
Yeah, would think it'd be very depressing, but he was such a good character, interesting character that just had been through trauma and put on a lot of weight and was trying to deal with that. He was really a good character. Yeah, I think he won the best actor. Yeah. Okay, so out of all those, which ones did you like or not like to really stand out to you? Avatar? Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
Elvis was good. This young man was Elvis. Yeah.
Elvis?
Top Gun was good.
Top Gun was good. If you liked it, if you're aerospace people, yeah. And all these you can call up on demand on TV and just watch at your leisure for $4.99, unless you have to buy them for $19.99. Yeah.
Has anybody seen the Jesus Revolution?
Good question, Joy. I've not seen that yet. Did you see it?
Yes.
Did you like it? It's only in theaters, right?
I think it's beyond that now.
Okay.
But that's where I saw it in the theater.
And tell us what the story of that is again, would you?
It reminded me of this church. It is about the hippies in California. It's based on real happenings and how they find this church, and they decide, the hippies decide they want to go to church and learn about Christ. And of course, there are those in the church that do not want them there.
Oh.
And it's just, I thought it was great.
Say the name again.
Jesus Revolution. And it really happened. I wondered where I was.
It's a true story. True story about a church in California in the 70s. What's that?
Preacher's name?
Oh, Kelsey Grammer.
What?
Well, it was Kelsey Grammer that played the.
But what was the preacher's name? He was supposedly well known, and it actually did happen. And they said that they baptized people,
Okay.
and it some actually happened while they were filming.
Oh, okay.
Pardon? No.
Speaking of spiritual TV or film, has anybody been watching the series called The Chosen?
Yeah.
The TV series called The Chosen. I think a lot of more conservative evangelical folks are really into that series, about Jesus and his time on earth with the apostles. And we watched a few episodes. It's a little slow and dark filming for my taste, but a good message and very popular with the conservative Christian
That's been on before.
folks.
I think that's been on before. It's not a new show, is
It's
it?
in the 3rd or 4th season, something like
Okay,
that.
and I thought it was on before.
Yeah. That's one we can look up. Okay. All right, how about other movies that you,
Chuck Smith.
or how about all-time favorite movies? Anybody got an all-time favorite that they go back and watch once in a while? They really love.
Dances with Wolves.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Mutiny on the Bounty.
Mutiny on the Bounty, okay, Jim.
African Queen.
African Queen with Humphrey Bogart. He was terrific.
The Long Hot Summer.
Casablanca is one of my favorites.
No, Field of Dreams.
Betty says, okay.
I know they get too much nostalgia in all of this, but every once in a while, I think in terms of those Hallmark presentations, that was something that we would discuss in our family, my parents, and we would look forward to that. That is no longer in existence. We have more reality film. This is a topic for another class session, perhaps. What has happened as far as reality TV is concerned, and the overuse of F words and the kind of vulgarity, and not just Yellowstone here at this point, but sometimes miss those family-oriented films that no longer are popular or on the best 10 by any means. But don't we all get a little bit of nostalgia from those folks' good old days? Where we are today may be more realistic for some, but on the other hand, what have we lost? What have we lost in the process?
That's a good point.
Sorry for that.
It reminds me that when I Love Lucy was on, it was like 80% of the TVs in America were watching that show on that night.
And Carol
And Carol Burnett now so fragmented, nobody gets that kind of a market share today.
How about Disney on Sunday evening?
Yeah.
Disney.
The wide world of Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the Ed Sullivan Show. How about Ed Sullivan? Yeah. Who had their hand up over here, Jim?
I like the movie Maytime with Nelson Eddy and Jeanette McDonald.
Okay.
They made a series of movies in the 1930s.
He talks to Alexa and asks her, bring the singing on, you know?
Jim does.
He was a Canadian Mountie, wasn't he, Jim?
Well, there's one movie, yeah.
Yeah, I remember he was a Canadian Mountie and all, those were so good.
Maytime is probably
well, that's the one he likes.
The Turner Classic Movie Channel will really show you all of those.
We watched some of the classics like Wuthering Heights and Great Expectations and
Some of the great
some of
books.
those great.
They're good books too.
Oh, yeah.
Who does like the reality shows today, even those like American Idol, or could that be called a reality show? Okay. How about The Bachelor or the home remodeling show? You like those? Those are very popular, aren't they? So many of them.
They're kind of misleading though, because they make it look so easy. They go out and walk with a hammer and all of a sudden you're in a big trouble.
But they, depending on the part of the United States it's in, it's very cheap.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, some of those
Yeah.
shows, you know, oh, I have a budget of 85,000 and they go in and do the whole house.
Yes, yes.
We're going, okay, well, we just got this done and it was 25,000.
Yeah.
We haven't got started.
Yeah, okay. What other categories are there that are popular?
Talk about the one that with the violence, the NCIS.
Well, that's my favorite, I watched.
All the
FBI. FBI. Lots.
Blue Bloods. How about the Chicago series? Did anybody watch Chicago Med, Chicago Police,
Yeah.
Fire?
Okay.
I got every department with a Chicago.
Chicago water again?
It's the thing.
It's on, Claire.
You know, one you haven't did Lasso. Totally Rabbit Prince.
Yes, that's a good one. Who watches Ted Lasso? Why didn't you? Yeah. Soccer coach and very popular.
Soccer coach, doesn't know anything about soccer.
About soccer, but he's a good coach. He's really good.
Forrest Gump. Like Forrest Gump.
You wouldn't like it. Does anybody go back and watch really old series? Just to have your nostalgia reawakened. Like you can go back on demand and watch I Love Lucy or Perry Mason or any Bonanza or ER, the 1990s. Vicki and I have done that once in a while on things, and it's like I didn't. It's like watching them again for the first time sometimes. So yeah, does anybody do that?
Rockford Files.
Pardon me, Judy?
Oh, Rockford Files.
There you go. But that's something that I think we don't really think about very often today that we have available. When you enjoyed something in your youth, you can go back to YouTube or someplace and watch those shows again and like you're young again.
But our memories, we don't remember.
They still have their
soap operas. What you doing? Watching General Hospital. Okay, now talk to you later.
Are daytime soap operas still popular?
Yes.
Another one on the AARP best movies was, or best TV series, The Old Man.
Oh, that was good.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges as like a CIA agent.
Right.
I thought that was very
excellent.
He was retired.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they got him back. And I think there's gonna be, it doesn't say season 2.
Yes, there will be.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes off in the airplane, and that was really a good.
That was.
It was like FX or something, wasn't it?
Oh, I know what I missed
Yeah.
mentioning too, that Vicki and I really like on PBS is Call the Midwife.
Yes.
Watches. I have to have the captions on because I cannot understand the British people. All creatures great and small.
The third season is
The veterinarian.
all over.
24, father's son,
Yes.
Yeah.
And Vicki and I also like Marie Antoinette on PBS. It's a new series, but really takes you to that time period very well.
Or it's always The Crown.
The Crown. Very good. There's so many to keep track of. Anybody write it down? Dale, do you write them down? Keep track? Okay. All right, in our last few minutes here, I wanted to, I'll take Jim's question, then read you a little list of upcoming movies that are look forward to.
There'll be a good show coming up next month with the coronation.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Ben 16. 1936. No,
The 50s.
Yeah, the 50s with Queen Elizabeth. Yeah.
That should be.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a
Will it
good
be on
show.
at 2 o'clock in the morning? Live.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Another one they mentioned also is called the Amazing Mrs. Maisel. Yes, or something like that. Fast, funny, about a lady in the 50s who's Jewish, young woman living in New York. They just started a new season of that. But if you haven't tried that, try it from the beginning. It's really funny.
Apple TV.
On Apple TV. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Leanne, do you have your hand up? Okay. All right, just to mention some of the movies coming out. One called Ghosted coming out this month with Chris Evans from the writers of the Deadpool movie. Comes an action rom-com about a guy who travels to London with a grand gesture to win over a girl who ghosted him, only to discover she's a CIA agent, tangled up in her latest mission. And then there's the Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Those are never ending, aren't there? So many sequels today.
Yeah.
Outlander's coming out this summer.
Outlander TV series. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Harrison Ford comes back in June.
Yep.
For this long-awaited follow-up to the 2008 Indiana Jones. So he's coming back with that. Roosevelt, a biopic of the 32nd president starring Leonardo DiCaprio. It's coming out July 14. And then the opposite end of the scale is Barbie. Margot Robbie as the doll come to life. And Ryan Gosling as Ken, introducing their own live action world for the cartoon characters. So those are just a few of those coming out. Whatever makes money, that's right. Yeah.
I know that's kind of cynical, but monsters that make money can't be killed.
Monsters that make money, and Transformers, robots, and never-ending sequels. That's
Never-ending story.
never-ending story. That's coming out today. Any final thoughts? Things we missed that you like, you want to recommend?
Steve,
There's so much on TV.
Murray and I have an eye opener with a film on Netflix currently called Transatlantic. We were not aware, I wasn't aware of the fact that the American Rescue Committee was stationed in the south of France, Marseille, to help intellectuals being persecuted by the Nazis when Germany, when the Nazis had control of France, and the police were complicit with the Nazis at that time. But anyway, if you like documentaries, it gives the actual photographs of the actual people who were participating. And then, of course, you have the beautiful scenery of the south of France and where it's filmed, but also the heroine, the female lead, who was a wealthy daughter of a banker in Chicago, who helps finance the committee. But it's a very moving account how Americans were working around the clock to help people escape from the occupation during the World War II. But anyway, it's a documentary. It's a documentary. It's very fine on Netflix. Transatlantic. Transatlantic.
You know, before the U.S. entered the war. So,
Yeah, thank
so it's that gap.
Thank you.
It's a lot of good things on, if we can find them. But there's so much to choose from. That's right.
The Pianist was a good one.
Yeah, that was. And Schindler's List.
Oh,
Yes. Yep. It's fun to go back and watch movies that you love but haven't seen for a long time, because you kind of rediscover what was actually. Well, good discussion. Thank you, everybody, for your recommendation. We will meet again next week and talk about Thomas Jefferson's faith and life. Judy will present that.
Next week.
Take care, everybody. Next Sunday, right.
Thank you. Bye.
Zoom. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
I believe.